So this demonstrates the two major tracts, the SLF and IFOF. The insula is bracketed between the two. See, the red and white one is the SLF. It has two parts. It's a C-shaped tract in its lateral part that hooks from the frontal lobe to the temporal lobe. And then there's a more straight direction path. Now the yellow is IFOF, goes from the occipital lobe to the frontal lobe, passing through the bottom of the insula. So to take you through these ones individually, you can see that the SLF is going to be located just deep to the sole side. It's going to run right above the insula in an AP direction. You can see that it sort of has the total complex has a Y-shaped appearance. There's a lateral C-shaped appearance that looks like this, and it goes from the inferior frontal lobe to the superior temporal gyrus, and then a straight connection between the parietal lobe and the frontal lobe. So if you look at this on the where this is going to be located in the brain, a few key landmarks. Mainly that this needs to be running, when it's located in this coronal plane, it has to be located in a fairly specific part of the white matter. So here on the axial plane, it's going to run from the inferior frontal gyrus to the operculum deep around, sort of like this. Okay, in this plane, it's going to look something like that. That's the lateral portion. The parietal portion goes straight like that, from the parietal lobe to the middle frontal gyrus and posterior frontal lobe. So again, a C-shaped and then a straight. That's why it has a Y-shaped complex. Those are actually two different parts of the same tract. You can see that on the coronal imaging, the core of that tract is going to be about right there. Okay, so it all comes together as a single stem that runs about there. It's going to be, there's the insula. It should be deep to the insula and run underneath the motor cortex above the basal ganglia. That's the location of the stem of that tract. Now moving on to IFOF, the IFOF, which should be in pink on all the images. It's purple here, but it basically is a long tract that looks like this. And you can see that it has numerous rami from the occipital lobe. It runs the bottom of the insula and then turns up anteriorly. So you can see occipital lobe, bottom of insula, bends up at the front of the insula, and then it gives off all these little rami to the spread out on the frontal lobe. The most important part is to get its position in the insula correctly. So to look at that, you can see the so to review that again, you can see the occipital rami. It has a slight bend, then it goes down around the atrium of the ventricle, down at the bottom of the insula, and makes that bend superiorly to the front of the insula. Its positions in coronal section include there. That's really the critical one at that little junction right there of the insula and the temporal lobe at that temporal stem. You can see the IFOF is going to do this. It's going to run right at the bottom of the insula and bend upward at the front of the insula, where then it gives off its little frontal rami.